Happy Sabbath, Church. Today's story is a personal story, and it's a story of God's protection. It's a story of God looking after one of his own, but it's not my story today. It's Ronnie Gyi's story. I'll be reading on his behalf, and he'll be telling the story, or we'll be telling the story, his life story through 3 boxes. She got up early while it was still dark and put on her best clothes. And later, with 2 men from the house, she went to the bus station. She waved goodbye to them.
That was the last time I saw my mother, about 60 years ago.
Or imagine your sister, your mother and father, one by one, lay dying at different times, and you could not go home and say goodbye to them.
Well, you might think my life is a very sad story, but it is just the opposite. As after accepting Christ, my personal story is a story of hope, joy, and gladness in the Lord.
So this is Ronnie's personal story about the boxes. So Ronnie says, when people ask me about my country of origin, I answer Burma or Myanmar. They usually don't know where it is, so here it is. It's located in Southeast Asia. So this is about the first box. When I was a child, about 9 years old, there was a box in our house in Rangoon or Yangon. Inside the box were carpenter's tools, saw, hammer, chisels. I used to make toys with the tools. The hand-eye coordination in making the toys, like a wooden plane, would one day become useful to me. The box was my grandfather's toolbox. So here is my grandfather's story. Hussein, who was an ethnic Chinese living in Mektila, which is in central Burma, married a Burmese lady, Gyi.June. He was a carpenter. In 1910, Robert B. Thurber was sent out to lead Mektila Technical School. The General Conference set aside a special fund of $129,000, $959.65 for the Burma Union Training School. This school was the first Adventist institution in Burma. The missionaries asked Hussein to build the school. He hired some more carpenters and started building. During this time, the missionaries witnessed to him about the Christian faith. And so, my grandfather, Carpenter Hussein, met the carpenter of Nazareth and accepted him as his savior. So here you can see some pictures of Ronnie's grandparents and his family.
That was my small boy.
So now this is about suitcases. This is the story of Ronnie's parents.
The spear tip was held under the throat, my father's throat. Suddenly, a hand was seen, pushing the spear away. My mother was the one who did that. Do you know who I am? My mother shouted at the bandits, who thought 24 loads of bullet cart with luggage and people would make their day.
To understand the context of this remarkable story, we have to flash back. This was told to me recently by my brother Gilbert, who I met in London after about 50 years. The village headman in Thin La village was the person with sole authority. He knew all the families in the village and their occupations. Most people are farmers and grew fruit trees and vegetables. However, a few were notorious bandits. As their families are under the authority of the village headman, they can rob only strangers as a rule. Years ago, the headman of Thin La village had a son. After a few years, his wife passed away. He married again and had a daughter, and afterward, the headman and his second wife expired. The 2 orphans were placed in the village Buddhist monastery where the monks took care of them. Missionaries came to the village and had meetings. They noticed the orphan girl so bright and helpful. And with the permission of the monks, they took her to Rangoon, where the union headquarters were, and educated her in the elementary school. For high school, she was sent to Mektila school, where after the 7th standard, she got married. She was my mother. Both were baptized into the Seventh-day Adventist Church at Mektila. My father became the union accountant and was sent to assist the division accountant in Pune, India. Meanwhile, her half-brother, Yu became the village headman. When they returned to Burma, the Second World War was underway. To be safe, they travelled to my mother's village. We return to the story.
"You know who I am," shouted my mother at the bandits after pushing the spear away from my father's throat. "I am the sister of Umang, the headman of Tainla village." On hearing this, the bandits threw down their weapons and pleaded for mercy. Then the bandits escorted them to my mother's village.
A place was allotted to my parents, and the young men of the village helped build the house. In that house, I was born in the year 1944. Our family hardly had enough food to eat, as they owned no land for cultivation. They were using up their money. My mother went to the Japanese commander in the district capital and brought back 3 bags of salt. Salt was not available anywhere. She sold the salt, and Dad became the village pastor and converted many young men who later became workers in the mission. My parents' baptism is recorded in my father's service record, as shown there. So this is the story of the 3rd box, a box of bones. This is Ronnie's story now. During my last year of elementary school in Rangoon, there was a box in our house. I called my friends and scared them with the contents of the box. It contained real human bones. Why did we have that box in our house? So on May 29, 1957, the Union High School was opened in Koh Teng, Tungu, with Gyi.June as its first principal. The school was situated in a forest area. The teachers and students cleared the land near the road, put a fence around it, paid taxes to the government, and then that land belonged to the mission. Once in a while, students were sent into the forest to gather vegetables for the school kitchen. My friend Stanley went earlier to the high school as his father, Seya Ao-Chu, was appointed as the headmaster. I followed later because my eldest brother Sydney was appointed as a science teacher.
"Let's go into the jungle," I told Stanley. As soon as I reached Chowtai, I had never in my young life seen a jungle. I wanted to see all the lovely birds and animals. "Be careful of the elephants," somebody warned us. There were no wild elephants, but only tame ones. But a bull elephant can become a rogue elephant during musk.
The elephants have a bell attached to them, and from the sound they can be differentiated from the cowbells. Into the jungle we went. I was so excited to see the different trees and flowers on the plants. Will there be a deer? My brother Sydney had shot a deer and had a photo taken with him. Were there peacocks? As we went deeper into the jungle, it became darker, and then I was thinking about tigers, lions, and wild boars. Fear replaced my excitement. What will I do if I meet these carnivores? Then I thought, these animals may be far away, but be careful of the snakes hidden near you.
So I looked down, and guess what I saw between my legs? A giant Burmese python. You cannot see the head or the tail. This is how a giant Burmese python looked like.
Yes, that's what I saw on the narrow footpath, covered on the sides with vegetation. I jumped towards Stanley, who was ahead of me, and pointed to the spot. A giant Burmese python kills its prey by lunging and coiling around it, and with its muscular body, squeezes and suffocates its prey. Then the monster sprang, and we jumped and ran. Fortunately, the python went into the bush away from us, and we could see the plants moving along its trail. After running for some time, we thanked God as we regained our breath. At one end of the campus, there was a small stream which marked the boundary of the school campus. As the choir sang, "I will follow thee, my Saviour," a group of us were baptized. I was 14. Though I meet with tribulation, sorely tempted though I be, I remember thou wast tempted and rejoiced to follow thee. The euphoria faded though, soon as we heard that one subject of the government-controlled 7th standard exam was scheduled on a Saturday. The whole class decided to write the exam. On Friday, we all submitted our exam entrance permits, but when the exam results came back, we truly failed. "I will send you to Spicer Higher Secondary School in Pune, India," said my father. "Your brother Harris is taking many years to pass his medical exam as he refused to write the exam schedules on Saturdays."
This explains why we have a box of human bones in our house. My brother was a medical student and he was studying anatomy on these bones.
At Spicer, I wrote the entrance exam. I was placed in the 9th standard without passing the 7th standard in Burma, and was very grateful to God for his faithfulness. At Spicer High School, for the first time in my life, I discovered 2 treasure stores. First of all was the library, because there I spent many hours reading various books to gain general knowledge. I also took time to read the writings of Mrs. E.G. White. The great controversy gripped my attention and interest. And number 2 was the church. I would listen in full concentration to the sermons. Pastor R.L. Rowe, though having a monotonous tone, was rich in the spirit of prophecy knowledge which he shared with us. Steps to Christ by E.G. White became my guidebook for life. I was able to complete medical study at Christian Medical College in India. There, we used to worship in the early years at the SDA Missionary House. It was there that I came to read about C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. I was also introduced to Watchman Nee, who started the home churches in China and was later martyred. His book, The Normal Christian Life, is a clear explanation of Romans. I did graduate study in ophthalmology. God guided the hands and fingers that made toys from my grandpa's carpenter tools and helped me to restore sight to thousands upon thousands of eyes in the remote villages of rural India, all operated free of cost. More than 10,000 reasons to praise the Lord. Here are some pictures of early operations where they was wearing no gloves or no gown, but still operating.
See, this woman was possessed by the devil. You can see her long hair. But God's power prevails, and we could operate on her.
And we should have one more picture. So this is a much more recent operation in 2014, February the 4th, 2014, in a remote village in northern India.
This is my prayer. Lord, when I graduate from medical school, let me go back to Burma and serve my people. Till today, my prayer is unanswered. I became a refugee because of the political changes in Burma. But within a few years, there is hope that my prayer will be answered.